What is going on, Pats Nation? It's Patriots Global here, back with another video. And today, on this early morning, I got some breaking news for you guys. Now, before we get into this one, I do want to say, if I do sound a little off, it is because I'm sick. If you are not new to the channel, you will know that your boy here is always sick. I'm probably the worst person you'll ever meet when it comes to an immune system. But of course, like always, the grind does not stop, so we're going to continue this one out. We're going to bang this one out for you guys, so just stick through it with me. But the Patriots have made a trade with the Las Vegas Raiders to send former Patriots offensive tackle, former 49ers offensive tackle, and of course, most recently, the Las Vegas Raiders offensive tackle in Trent Brown. Now, as Patriots fans, we know Trent Brown all too well. Now, this was, I believe, on day 2 of the 2018 draft. The Patriots made a trade with the Raiders, or not the Raiders, the 49ers, to send over Trent Brown to the New England Patriots in exchange for, I believe, a 5th-round pick. Now, Trent Brown was in contract year with New England during that trade, but he played out the year with New England. He was able to stay healthy, and he was a staple for New England. I mean, Trent Brown played spectacular in that one lone season that he was able to play with New England. He really set his market. Of course, that was the year that the Patriots did go to win Super Bowl 53. Trent Brown went and signed a 4-year, $66 million contract as an unrestricted free agent back in 2019 then with the Raiders after the Patriots had won the Super Bowl. As Patriots fans, we knew that Trent Brown was not going to come back to the Patriots because he was going to just get a monster deal because he is a monster offensive tackle. If he's not the biggest offensive tackle, he's one of the biggest offensive tackles and just offensive linemen in general in the entire league. Whether we're talking about pass protection or we're talking about run blocking, Trent Brown, if he's able to stay healthy, is one of the best in the NFL. Sitting at 6'8", 359 pounds, Trent Brown is not a guy you knock off your stance, but he is a guy that, despite how large he is, and despite being an offensive tackle, moves extremely well and is extremely quick with his feet. So when it comes to run blocking, he is able to actually run and keep up with the running backs behind him to sustain blocks down the field. Now, he's 27 years old, so he's still very, very young. You don't got to worry about age being a thing. He has several years left in the NFL for him. The thing about this contract, though, is that the Patriots are not going to be getting the rest of the contract that Trent Brown had when he signed that massive deal with the Raiders. Supposedly, this deal has been in the works for a couple of weeks. They've been trying to really navigate how the Patriots can make this trade and acquire him because we have been hearing for a while that Trent Brown is likely on the move. We just didn't know that New England was one of those teams. Now, technically, Trent Brown did still have 2 years left on that contract. But as part of the trade, he did agree to renegotiate that contract, so the money is brought down just a little bit, not by much, but instead of the Patriots having him under contract for 2 years, and I don't remember if it was this season or next season, he was set to make about $14 million. The Patriots will have him under contract for just 1 year. So they'll have him under contract for the 2021 season. He'll be a unrestricted free agent at the end of this season, and he'll be making up to $11 million per sources with the Patriots this season. Now, what this tells me, and they very much emphasize the can earn up to $11 million. They didn't say he will be making $11 million. It said it's up to $11 million. So I don't know exactly what his base salary is going to be. But I'd imagine it would be lower than $11 million. I'm sure there's going to be some incentives built into that $11 million that, he plays a certain amount of games. He doesn't allow a certain amount of sacks. He plays a certain amount of snaps, by the end of the season, and then he can earn up to that $11 million. So it sounds like $11 million is the maximum that he could make. And then if you are the Raiders, you had only about $3 million that you were able to spend. You had to maneuver some cap space so you could re-sign players and also sign other players to further along your team in improvement. If you're the Patriots, obviously you're sitting at well above $60 million, top 3 in the NFL in cap space. You had the money to do this. And as I'm recording this video, I'm actually seeing Trent Brown posting on New England, guys. He seems nothing but excited to be back in New England. He knows about this trade clearly, and he posted a picture of him hosting that Lombardi Trophy during the parade saying, "I love it here." He's tagging the Patriots. He's posted more pictures of him and Dante Scarnecchia, the former Patriots offensive line coach. So I think it's obvious and clear to say that Trent Brown is happy to be back in New England. Now, as for compensation, honestly, it's not that much. It isn't even for 2021. It's for 2022, and the Patriots aren't trading an arm and a leg. In fact, this was really more so to help financially for the Raiders. Obviously the Patriots are in a fine place, but the Raiders did need to clear up some money. Trent Brown sadly was a guy who just had to go for them. The Patriots will be sending over a 2022, so not this year's draft, but next year's draft, 2022 fifth round pick, and then the Patriots get Trent Brown and a 2022 seventh round pick. And I do actually have the numbers up here from his former contract. So if the Patriots had traded for him and he stayed on his current contract, he was scheduled to earn $13.7 million in 2021 and $15 million in 2022. Obviously, this is an immediate upgrade for the New England Patriots. We do know that they wanted to keep Trent Brown around, but they did not want to give him that massive contract, and as I'm sure you can see, this is exactly why. You kind of put yourself in a bad financial place then that the Raiders are, and you have to make some tough moves. And boys, ladies, gents, this is why Belichick is so great, because he doesn't give big contracts where big contracts aren't necessarily due. And then when teams end up releasing these guys, Belichick just brings them right back in. In 2018 with the Patriots, he only let up 3 sacks. That was all the whole season. He let up a total of 3 sacks. In 2019 with the Raiders, he actually went to the Pro Bowl. It was a Pro Bowl year for him, and he only allowed 1 sack. 2020 is definitely where things kind of hit the road, or hit the brakes rather, for Trent Brown, especially with the Raiders, which is likely what led to the release. Both him making so much money and him not really being able to stay healthy while he was with the Raiders is a big reason that he's being traded to the Pats. In 2019, it wasn't too bad. He appeared in all 11 games, and like I said, he allowed 1 sack and went to the Pro Bowl that year. 2020 was different. He was only able to appear in 5 games due to the pandemic and the virus. He was dealing with a lot of health issues. There was one point where an IV was actually in his arm pre-game for some reason, and air actually ended up going into his veins. He had to get rushed to the hospital. It was a whole thing. So obviously he's coming off of a pretty injury-filled 2020 season. As long as the Patriots can get back, that 2018 healthy version of Trent Brown, then this is an immediate upgrade and an immediate W for the New England Patriots, because this doesn't really affect you that much for 2021 and the offseason, because it's only about $11 million against you, and we'll get into how that possibly could be much less. And you get to keep all of your draft capital for this upcoming draft. It's just in 2020 is when this will take place. Now, like I just said, he is expected to make about $11 million. The Patriots have a bit over $60 million and could definitely rise that number up if they would like to, so they definitely can make this work. But with Trent Brown coming back to the Patriots, what does this mean? Obviously, he has the ability to play right or left tackle, but either way, he's going to be playing tackle. That means with what the Patriots offensive line looks like now, there's going to be some shifts. Either Marcus Cannon is not coming back or Isaiah Wynn is not coming back. If I had to place my money on it, I would say that the Patriots probably want to make Marcus Cannon expendable and will look to either release him or trade him. Marcus Cannon didn't play at all in 2020. He's getting older. He's definitely contemplated retirement, although he did say he wants to come back. When you have an injury-prone guy like that, you're probably going to look to move on from him, especially a guy like Marcus Cannon, who's expected to make about $7 million, and the Patriots could save about $6.3 million against the cap if they were to get rid of Marcus Cannon. So let's say that the team does decide to get rid of Marcus Cannon. They save about $6.3 million. Then just deduct that $6.3 million from the $11 that Trent Brown is going to make. If you look at it that way, the Patriots truly are getting a bargain for Trent Brown in 2021. Now, because the Patriots will be spending so much on an offensive lineman in Trent Brown, I really think that this is a clear, evident sign that Joe Thuney is likely going to be hitting that free agency market and probably isn't going to be back with the Patriots in 2021. As for what the Patriots offensive line could now look like in 2021, we'll have to see what other roster moves they decide to make. But as for right now, I could easily see them doing something where they either have Isaiah Wynn at left tackle, Trent Brown at right tackle, you plug in Onwenu at left guard, you have Shaq Mason at right, and then David Andrews at center. Or they could plug in Trent Brown at left tackle, which is what he did with New England back in 2018 when he was with the team. Then you have Onwenu over at right tackle because Onwenu performed really well while he was performing at the right tackle position. You put Isaiah Wynn at left guard, Shaq Mason at right, and David Andrews at center. But either way, the New England Patriots have made a trade to get former Patriot Trent Brown back in the building. The Patriots are getting a big body back on the offensive line. Definitely an upgrade, whether it is Isaiah Wynn, whether it is Marcus Cannon. The Patriots are getting some big body help on that offensive line. It's going to prove to perform very well for the Patriots in 2021. I think you guys are going to see just how important this trade will be as we progress throughout the offseason and the regular season. Want to know your thoughts on this, though? Let me know in the comment section below. Remember to give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe to the channel for all of your New England Patriots news. But like always, I'll catch you guys in my next video.